Hi everyone, it's Bobby Jean again with Noodle and Roo. This is the second video on my Restoring a Doll's Hair tutorial. In this video I am going to be going over the supplies that you're going to need for the rest of the restoration. In addition to going over the supplies, I'm going to be teaching you how to properly detangle your doll's hair so you don't end up with a bald doll when you're done. Okay, so here we are all ready to restore her hair. As you can see, this doll has extremely thick hair. It's actually thicker than the hair that I was just showing you a moment ago. But this is the one that I just showed you the after images of at the beginning of the video. And I'm going to have to get all the curl out and the snarls and the kinks and the damage because she is going to go to a little girl that has medium length straight hair and it's not this thick. So I'm going to be teaching you everything you need to know about thinning it, smoothing it, getting any of the damage out. I'm also going to be going over a few of the supplies that you're going to be needing. Obviously you're going to need a doll, a Bratz doll, a Barbie doll, a Moxie doll, any vinyl doll that has plastic hair. I use barber shears. These are just medium grade barber shears. I have some cheaper ones that I actually use and I like better, but I'm not sure where I put them. I use a fork, and I know that sounds kind of funny, but it was in my kitchen and I found out that I really like the way that the tongs can grip and do the angle that I want on the small head. A variety of combs. I have alligator clips or hair ties or anything that you might need to hold some of the hair and section it off. As you encounter really snarly knots, you're going to want to section it off. I also use a paddle brush, towel for drying and for setting her on. This is self-sudsing soap that I actually got at Bath & Body Works. It smells really good and it's super easy to rinse out because it's self-sudsing. And I use coconut oil as a lubricant, a stove, and you're going to need a pot of boiling water and your sink. Okay, so you're going to want to lay out a towel either on your lap or a surface to comb her hair out. And you're going to want to start at the very ends of the hair. Not towards the scalp, but towards the ends. This makes it a lot easier to pull the little knots out a tiny bit at a time and not kind of compact them even more so than they already are. She's obviously going to be losing some hair, but the goal here is to not make her bald. If you lose some of her hair, her plugs will start getting loose, and eventually some of the hair that you don't want gone will be falling out while your daughter's playing with the toy or you're trying to style it later on. So be gentle. You're going to have to lose some hair, but just try not to lose very much. Just keep working this. The way I am doing it is kind of from the ends to the scalp. And I'm kind of only doing the top layer of hair right now. And once I feel like I've gotten that pretty much detangled, I'm going to section it off and I'm going to flip her over and do that section on the other side. This isn't something that I'm trying to pull all of the knots through in one go. I am going to have to section piece by piece, and depending on how damaged and how knotted your doll's hair is, this may take longer, it may take less time. Regardless of how long it takes you to do this, it does take patience. So you're going to have to set aside about 30 to 45 minutes to do this to your doll's hair. So don't think it's something you can just whip out really fast on your way out the door. If you would like to have your children help restoring dolls, this is a good time to let them get in here before you get to the really bad knots, which I'm approaching right now. As you can see, this is super matted. This would be difficult for a child to get out. It's difficult for me to get out. So I'm just going to section it off, and there's a really bad knot here. So just pull it gently a little bit at a time so you're not pulling the hair out of the scalp, but instead you're pulling it out of the knot. Section that off. And now I'm going to be working on the back section of the portion that I just detangled a moment ago. And this goes the exact same way. I just hold on to it and I start at the ends and I slowly go up a little bit closer each time to the scalp. If I feel a lot of resistance, I'm not going to pull my brush all the way through and pull out a big chunk. I'm going to kind of let my brush fall out of the hair and I'm going to go down a little bit lower again. At this point, if you're having a ton of difficulty getting any of the knots out, just wait and see what I do here at this back section and show you how I remedy that. I'm just going to keep going along and brushing and brushing and brushing. And once I feel like that is pretty much detangled, I'm going to take this portion on the back and attempt to do it with the brush. And I can tell it's not going to happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of the coconut oil and I'm gonna rub it all over the doll's hair where I need it lubricated. Now, this coconut oil is not actually conditioning the doll's hair. I know a lot of you use conditioner or fabric softener, but just understand that it's not, there's not any reason to use conditioner. You could use butter if you wanted, just anything that would lubricate this hair. This isn't human hair, it is only made out of plastic. So just like a plastic water bottle that gets crunched up, if you rubbed conditioner on it, it wouldn't actually uncrunch the bottle. What's going to fix this hair is putting it in boiling water. And right now I'm putting it in a little bit of water. I usually would be doing this at my sink, but I have this pot here right here. So that water is just going to help lubricate with the coconut oil. This is plastic, like I said. And your conditioner is in a plastic bottle at your house. And obviously the conditioner isn't penetrating into the plastic bottle. This is the exact same thing. You don't need to condition this hair. What you need to do is lubricate it. So when we reheat it and get the molecules in it softer, we can get it to be in the position that we want it to be when we set that style. So it is plastic, so it does melt. I do not want to melt the hair, I just want to soften it. And I'm going to grab my fork here because I have a pretty bad knot. And I'm going to show you my technique as I still start towards the end. And I just kind of guide the fork through and pull out any of the snarls. If there's one little teeny portion that I really need to work, I just get in there and work that portion. I don't want to do this to the whole head because I risk losing some of the hair. And if I absolutely cannot get this knot out, I'm going to go with some scissors and take the knot out. And if you are going to use scissors, don't cut it out in a straight cut. Kind of stagger your cut so you can't notice as much after the doll's hairstyle that there was a piece missing. Okay, so I feel like I got her pretty much done. At this point, if you guys want to keep a full body to the hair and keep some of the curls and some of the wave, this would be a good time to just take her to the sink and wash her with extremely warm water. And it'll kind of set in the curls that we have already on this doll's head, but it'll set them in a position that'll probably look a little bit nicer than it does right now and not so poofy and huge. Now, I'm going to take this doll before I bring it to the sink, and I'm going to brush her hair in the direction that it would lay if she was standing. This is really an important step because the hair at the scalp, if you have it laying in the wrong direction during the boil, you are going to permanently press it in the wrong direction. See this bald spot? Now, this doll has a permanent part on the top of her head that the factory made. The hair is intentionally thicker there, but only there, so you cannot change where this part goes. This is how you make the part look the way it was. You don't take it and part it like you would your hair on your head, because this hair has plugs in it, and it's not a whole bunch of individual hairs in their own individual pore. So I'm going to grab something like a martini pick, something sharp and pokey that I can get in here, and about 1/8 of an inch away from the scalp, I'm going to start sticking this in and following the part, but don't get too close to the scalp. Now when the factory makes a part, they take some hair and put it there and some hair over there, and they do this tiny little zigzag back and forth. I don't want to undo that zigzag because that is there to hide the scalp. So if I have some kinks here, I'm just going to kind of pull them apart and make sure that the right hair goes on the right side. And if you get really close to this, you're going to see that there's a little teeny zigzag. Sorry I missed this shot a little bit, but I'm going to show you if I could get this focused. I'm going to show you how to do this a little bit closer. So you see how I go in and out and in and out and in and out so I don't interrupt that zigzag? If you look closely, you can kind of see where that zigzag was. And now I'm going to take that hair, and because there's a little piece going in one direction and a little piece going in the other direction, it's going to kind of weave over that part and make it so you cannot see the scalp at all. So this might take a little bit of finessing, and if you've ever undone a part in the past, you might not be able to get it back without really spending some time doing this. So make sure that whenever you are redoing a part that you're keeping in mind that the hair is intentionally supposed to zigzag back and forth. And once you feel like you have that done, pull it tight and just make sure that you haven't missed anything. And I feel like that's covered up pretty well. So I'm going to want to maintain this throughout the rest of this restoration. So now I'm going to continue to pull the hair and and make sure that it's exactly where I want it, and then I'm going to style it down in the direction that I want it to lay if she were standing. And as soon as I feel like I've gotten all the hair in the area that it's supposed to and I'm happy with the part, I'm going to take her over to the sink and I'm going to get the water really, really hot, almost too hot to touch. And I am going to turn the water on my stove to boil while I'm doing this. So I'm over here at my sink and I'm going to take my doll and I'm going to make sure that her part is still satisfactory. And I'm going to rinse her off in the direction that I want her hair to lay. And as you can see, her hair is so poofy and has so much air in it, it kind of is not getting weighed down yet. So I'm going to have to run my fingers through it some to get that hair to actually get penetrated with the water. This is actually a really useful point because if you're not doing what I'm doing right now, which is, working this water into the hair is going to have so much air in it that when you bring it to the pot of boiling water, it's going to kind of just float on the surface instead of sinking down. And I don't want to have to fuss with a utensil or anything over the boiling water, getting the hair into the water. I'm going to try and maintain this style as much as I can during the boiling process. So the least motion and messing around of the hair that I have to do in the pot is the best. This water is almost too hot to handle, and there's a reason for that. It's softening the hair up, and I'm straightening it out a little bit right now, but I'm not going to get a straight style doing this. Which means at this point, this is what you're going to want to continue to do if you want some natural body. You can see that the curls are starting to stick together, so if you just keep doing what I'm doing with really, really hot water, you'll get a great natural looking wave. As you can see, some of the hair is falling out, and I just want to point out it's really bad to have this hair go down your drain because it is plastic. It isn't like human hair. And human hair is bad enough on your drain, but plastic hair that will never decompose is really going to cause you an issue, and I don't want you to have to call a plumber if you're doing a few dolls' hair. You could end up with quite a nest down there. Now, I just kind of guide some of this hair and twist it if I was going to make this a wavy hairstyle, kind of natural, beachy, wavy hairstyle. But because I'm doing a custom look-alike doll for a girl that has medium length straight hair, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing here. I'm going to just keep running my fingers through and making sure it's nice and smooth and getting out every little snarl that I possibly can. Like I said earlier, I want to fuss with it as little as possible when I'm at the stove. I'm going to squeeze out all the water so I'm not dripping it across my kitchen. And I'm going to go to the pot of water. I can hear it boiling over there. This coconut oil and soap I had reserved over here in case I couldn't get some of the snarls out, but I did get all of them out. So coconut oil, soap, and water is a really great lubricant. If you are using coconut oil during this process, you are going to have to shampoo or soap her hair. Maybe even twice, because this coconut oil will leave her hair a little bit oily.